at Corse. This is Corsica, a rally not for the faint-hearted. The Mediterranean island's mountainous nature sees cliff faces and sheer drops sandwich twisty, tight tarmac roads. Add a bit of adverse weather conditions into the mix, and Corsica becomes one of the WRC's trickiest events. Last weekend saw Sebastian Loeb put in a near-perfect performance to take his 9th win of the season in Spain. And it would be a brave man to bet against the Citroën driver this weekend. He's won here for the last 3 years.
Last week it was for sure a perfect rally for me. I hope it will be the same here again, but I'm sure that some other drivers like Duval, maybe Miko will be more in the battle immediately. I think they took a bit of time in Spain to get in the rhythm and to find the good setting with the tire and everything, but now they will be ready immediately, and so maybe it can be more difficult for me from the start.
The man who needs to get as close to Loeb as possible is Mikko Hirvonen. Spain was a disappointment for both him and the Ford team. They have to find the magic ingredient this weekend if they are to get the better of their French rivals and keep their championship dreams alive.
It looks very, very difficult at the moment, and Sebastian has such a good lead already that even though if I win all the rallies now, he can just take it steady and be second and third, and even that's going to be enough for him for the championship. So he needs to have a bad luck so that I can get into the fight again.
Also in Hirvonen's way is Dani Sordo. He's chomping at the bit for his first tarmac win. Second place after a great performance on his home event sees the Spaniard's confidence sky high. And don't forget Francois Duval. A tactical switch of positions on the final stages of Spain meant the Belgian was asked to relinquish third for his teammate. He prefers these tight and twisty stages and will be hoping to put some pressure on the Citroëns from the off. Confirmation then of Loeb's 12-point lead in the Drivers' Championship. If he beats Mikko by 8 points here, then the championship will be his once more. In the manufacturers, Citroën's third maximum in a row means they now have a 27-point advantage over Ford. The Blue Oval needs something special if they're to turn this around. The rally is once again based in Ajaccio on the west coast of the island, the service situated in the shipping port. There are a total of 359 competitive kilometres ahead. And this time it's Sebastian Loeb's turn to milk the home support at the ceremonial start. First though, here's Dani Sordo's co-driver Mark Marty with more details of what to expect on the opening day.
Rally Tour de Corse 2008, leg 1 is 120 kilometers, 3 stages, repeat in the afternoon. And stage number 1-4 is for me one of the most difficult of the rally, because the stages are very fast and all the corners are hidden all the time over the crest. For me, this stage will be the key of leg 1.
There is an outside possibility then that Loeb's record-breaking 5th consecutive world title could be secured this weekend. His first championship was won here on home soil back in 2004, so it would be somehow apt if the mountains of Corsica again play host to this incredible run. Away into stage 1. History tells us that the roads around Ajaccio should never be underestimated. Very narrow, twisty roads here, but still very quick. It's classic Tour de Corse action with Loeb flashing past the small village with terrifying speed.
Et gauche 130 plus court ancienne, 80 mètres, attention, droite 110 pas corde. Et gauche 120 plus long, corde légère.
Mikko Hirvonen's championship hopes may be dwindling, but they're certainly not over yet. You can guarantee that while his hopes are still alive, Ford's number 1 will keep on fighting. On cold tyres, it's going to be extremely slippery out there, and as Mikko found out to his cost here last year, there is very little margin for error. Further back in the stage is Citroën's Dani Sordo. Thanks to the Spaniards' impressive consistency recently that have allowed Citroën to lock out the top 2 places in 3 consecutive rallies and pull away from Ford in the manufacturer's title race. François Duval is appearing with the Works Ford team for the 2nd time after claiming 4th in Spain. Look at the constant cornering from Duval here. Very few straights to relax on in Corsica. It's one of the Belgians' favourite events, but he's never had the best of luck here, having retired 6 out of the 7 times he's entered. It's virtual spectator time now and an opportunity to see how the top boys are faring against each other so far. Approaching the 6.4-kilometre marker, Loeb's ahead again. Kiernan has the edge on Sordo. The Spaniard locked together with Duval at the moment. Moving on to the following split time just after 11 kilometres, and Loeb even further ahead. But a good run for Sordo. He's now just ahead of Kiernan. Duval's made up a bit of time. He's just a second back. So for the time being at least, Loeb's tarmac dominance looks set to continue.
140 plus corde, sur attention 80 mètres, gauche 140 moins mi-court, 80 mètres, droite 130 plus mi-long, vraiment pas corde.
The tricky stage 1 has been safely negotiated. Let's catch up with the world champion at the stop control.
I don't like so much this stage. It's very tricky, but I had a good drive, so I'm still happy at the moment.
Loeb not enjoying that stage, but it was still an impressive benchmark for the chasing field to match. Kiernan is the first with the daunting task of matching 9 minutes 27.4 seconds, and he's going to be slower. 4 seconds down on stage 1.
Four seconds slower than Sebastian. That's damn sight better than what we had in Spain.
Yeah, that's a good, very good start. At least I have the speed I finished in Spain, but now I just need to improve. Let's see if I can do that.
Sordo has said he'd love to beat Loeb on French soil, but his first concern will be to keep ahead of Kiernan. It's a blisteringly quick section towards the finish boards here. He's slower than Loeb too, and also half a second down on Kiernan and Danny. Would have hoped for better there on stage 1. Duval was a little off the pace through those early split times. Let's see if Ford's number 2 has managed to improve his speed through the last sector.
Pour 25, droite 80 ferme, pas corde et pas extérieur de l'arrivée. Droite 80 ferme, pas corde et pas extérieur de l'arrivée.
7.3 seconds behind Loeb. That's the 4th fastest time on stage 1. A slightly off-par performance from Francois. Ford's regular driver, Jari Mäti-Latvala, is back with the Stobart team for this event.
Siis oikein seisko. Hetimaisen 1 kirraa, 2 kirraa, 3.
All very wide, and he brushed the bank there. He desperately needs to stay on the road to rebuild his confidence. He's still 5th fastest on stage despite that scare. The hatchback Subaru Impreza wasn't quite on the pace of the Citroëns and Fords in Spain, but Chris Atkinson was involved in a terrific battle with Latvala, only losing out on the last couple of stages. It's the Finn who wins the first fight in Corsica though. Chris finishes just 2 seconds behind Latvala in 6th. Peter Solberg is a former winner in Corsica, claiming his sole tarmac victory here in 2003.
6 right plus.
But he's edged out by Atkinson on stage 1, beaten by 1.8 seconds by the Australian. Omoava has been one of the surprises of the season so far, with several impressive performances, but it's a frustrating start to his run in Corsica. The Estonian damages his front left damper in here, and the Citroën Privateer is over 18 seconds off the pace. Kiernan making a strong start on the opening stage, then separating the 2 Citroëns, with Duval in 4th, 7.3 seconds off early leader Loeb's pace. Latvala's in 5th, just ahead of the 2 Subarus, while Omoava rounds off the top 8. Loeb out front again then, but coming up after the break, the treacherous Corsican roads begin to bite back. Welcome back to a sun-drenched Corsica for the opening day of the Rallye de France, where Sebastian Loeb leads with his championship rival Mikko Hirvonen hot on his heels. Dani Sordo was beaten by Hirvonen in the opening test, but the Spaniard has made short work of fighting back, almost 3 seconds quicker than Mikko in stage 2. He's already passed the Finn to move up to second, and he's flat out again in here in Arborella. Oh no! He lost it under braking and comes very close to rolling the car. Danny and co-driver Mark Marty are straight out to assess the damage. They don't even attempt to try and drive the C4. Citroen's perfect run is over. Looking at it from inside the car, you get a better idea of the force involved. And looking at Danny's view again, he completely overcooks it into the right-hander, and with the grip not there to make the turn, it's game over. This is only 700 metres into the stage, so maybe the tyres were not up to their optimum temperature. They've sustained very heavy damage, and it's the end of the day for Danny.
Mark, it's only 700 metres into stage 3. We've just seen Danny being picked up by the helicopter. What exactly happened?
It was on the braking for this right corner, and it was a little bit bumpy, and we lose the braking, and we hit on the front left wheel.
Obviously, it is bad enough for today, but do you think Super Rally is possible?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. The mechanics should look the car and try to repair.
Drama early on here in Corse then. There are a lot of surface changes early on in stage 3, and it's making for a lively start to this long test. Latvala's attacking hard, and a bit of a wobble for Jari Matti. Amazing car control from the Finn to save that. Peter Solberg begins Arborella just 1 second behind the Finn, and with his rival looking a bit ragged, he could make some inroads here.
6 left plus, up long, give in.
Whoa, but he too has a massive moment. The opening sector of this demanding stretch of road proving a very tough challenge. Britain's Matthew Wilson has just moved into the points after stage 2.
Right 30, right 3 plus in. Max left, 30, keep right.
Oh, but he becomes the 4th driver to have a moment. Wilson's Ford Focus sustaining heavy damage with that impact, and he slips down to 13. What a stage to finish the morning then. Loeb remains out front, but with his teammate out, Hirvonen and Duval are now sitting in the final podium places, with a fine time for Solberg, propelling him up to 4th. Back at service in the Jaxio, Sordo is coming to terms with his frustrating exit.
Danny, tell me what happened on stage 3.
We had make a mistake in the first kilometer of the start 3, and I brake too late at the end of the zone, very fast zone, and I brake too late and I blocked the wells, and I hit a stunt in the corner. No.
At the moment, for us, it's going well. 3 best times on the 3 first stages, so it's a perfect start for me. For sure, for Danny, he went off, but that happens. We are pushing really hard, and I think Mikko and François are doing the same also, and so it can happen.
Mikko, a much better start this morning, but still 14 seconds.
Still 14 seconds, yeah, but it was a good start. I'm quite pleased how it went, so just need to see if I can find even more speed now and push Sebastian a little bit, but that's going to be very difficult.
Francois, this is one of your favourite events, but not the best start this morning.
No, but the road is really dirty this morning. I lost too many seconds on the first one, but now for the second loops, the road is the same for everybody. Now pushing more.
Back up to the stages in the mountains above Ajaccio then, and with the temperature continuing to rise, tyre wear could become more of an issue this afternoon. As was the case in Spain, Sebastian Loeb has shown a clean pair of heels to the rest of the field from the off. It's a regular tactic for the Frenchman to beat his rivals into submission early on, setting some stunning times from the word go to underline his superiority on this surface and deter the rest from mounting a foolhardy attack. As Duval just mentioned, there are some dirty roads out there this afternoon, so it's very slippery in places. With Sordo out then, how will it affect Mikko Hirvonen's approach to the rest of the rally? He's shown little signs so far of being able to match Loeb's pace, and with Citroen's number 2 out, Ford are also on course to make some inroads into their rival's advantage in the Manufacturer Championship. To do that though, both Mikko and Duval need to maintain these positions.
sisältä aukeaa soraa. 8 Vaseeri tiukka aja. 7 ja maali.
Duval is currently in third, and although he'd like to push to move up, as we saw in Spain, it's doubtful he'll be allowed to finish ahead of Hirvonen. The Belgian is renowned as a tarmac expert though, so he'll want to prove that he can beat the Finnish ace on his favourite surface. Back with the undisputed master on asphalt though, and Loeb's early split times have again looked very impressive. He said earlier that he's not a big fan of this stage as he moves on to a more abrasive tarmac here. But it's certainly not affecting his speed. The Citroën C4 screaming through Aquadoria. Loeb is quicker than Hirvonen again, this time by a margin of over 6 seconds. The Frenchman continues to edge away from his championship rival. Back with Duval though, and a chance to assess his efforts against that of his teammates. Beginning 2.2 seconds behind Hirvonen. If he can beat that target time, second place will be his. He's not going to do it. He's slower again. He's now just under 3 seconds behind Mikko. Behind the Fords, frustrating pursuit of the rally leader. There is a tight battle running between regular Blue Oval driver Jari-Matti Latvala and the two leading Subarus.
Break, then 3 right, then 5 left opens long, then...
There are just 2.3 seconds separating the three drivers, with Chris Atkinson currently at the back of the line.
And 7 right minus extra long, then mid-8 left.
The Australian has risen to the challenge in stage 4 though, and set a time just 11.3 seconds slower than Loeb's effort.
8 right plus, 13.
There is very little between Latvala and Atkinson through the early split times, but it is the Subaru man who has the slight edge. Latvala giving his all, but it's not quite enough. He's 1.5 seconds slower than Chris, and just 0.7 of a second ahead overall after the second run through Aquadoria.
Oikein 2 yli lipyn sisältä vähän kiekkoa. 30, vasen 3, 30 maali.
Oh, and getting some air at that big cut there. Peter Solberg began the stage leading the way in this tight battle, and he's beginning to find a rhythm on tarmac in this new shape in Predsa.
4 right, short 2 left.
The Norwegian likes as much information as possible through these constant corners, so it's a busy rally for co-driver Phil Mills.
6 right bus and 5 left half long tightens to neat 5 right bus half long, opens extra long.
It's not such a strong stage here for the Norwegian, though slower than both his teammate and Latvala. He falls back down from 4th to 6th. So behind the top 3, it's all change again. Latvala's now up to 4th with Atkinson 5th and Solberg 6th. Despite Petter dropping back, there's still just 4.3 seconds between the three drivers. Further back, the third Subaru of Brice Tirabassi has broken into the top 8. The fight is on for 4th then. Find out who ends the day on top after the break. The opening day of the Rallye de France is moving into its last pair of stages. Before we rejoin the action at the front, let's check on the progress of the drivers further back. Tony Gardemeister is driving this weekend with a heavy cold, but despite his weak condition, it's been a strong display. He's in 7th. Brice Tirabassi, after finishing in 10th on his debut in a World Rally car in Spain, is on course to finish even higher on his home event, running at the bottom end of the top 8, going into stage 5. Henning Solberg, meanwhile, is still driving his own rally, continuing to build up his experience on asphalt, but well off the pace of the front runners in 12th. Khalid Al-Qasimi had a frustrating rally in Spain, but the driver from Abu Dhabi was happier with his setup by the end of the weekend and looking to build on his pace again in Corsica.
Right 4, 30, left 4 plus over 80.
On to the final pair of stages then, and behind the top three, the battle to watch is for fourth, with just 4.3 seconds separating Latvala and the two leading Subarus. And let's rejoin that battle immediately with Chris Atkinson powering through stage 5 and looking to make up that tiny margin of 0.7 of a second to close up on Jari-Matti Latvala. Attacking hard on these roads requires intense concentration, and we've already seen Sordo crack under the strain this morning. Atkinson, though, continues to pick the perfect line through these sinuous bends.
10 left minus 80, Chris. Titans are very slow over 60.
It was an impressive time from the Australian in the second run through Portigliolo, and one that Latvala couldn't quite match despite the Finns' best efforts. Another big hop across a cut there. He's still right on the edge, and just 1/10 of a second separate the two drivers after stage 5. Quicker than both of them, though, is Petter Solberg.
Opens 40, line to 6 left minus, Titans keep in, 50, 5 left half long, Titans keep in, don't cut, 2 right.
Former world champion really coming into his own this afternoon. Fourth fastest on stages 5 and 6. He surges past both Atkinson and Latvala to storm up to 4th.
And line into surface change, 6 right plus long, opens 50.
Duval, meanwhile, for the second rally in a row, has been unable to match the speed of his former teammate Sébastien Loeb. Ford had hoped he could keep the pressure on the world champion, but after not competing for much of the year, it was perhaps a big ask for the Belgian, even on one of his favourite rallies. Mikko Hirvonen will be grateful to have been given an easy ride to second following Sordo's crash, but unless the rally leader makes a similar error, it seems unlikely on current form that he can do anything to trouble his championship rival. He's also beaten by Duval on the day's final stage, leaving his teammate within 2 seconds going into day 2. Despite the two Fords' best efforts, Loeb has continued to pull away into the horizon.
Et gauche 70 long, 80 mètres, gauche à fond.
He was always the favourite to win here, as he was in Spain, but the ease with which he continues to utterly dominate his rivals on every stage means he maintains the psychological edge. Loeb has won every stage on the opening day and continues that run on 5 and 6. An interesting opening day here in Corsica then, with that fight for 4th set to continue on the second day. Less than 4 seconds separating Solberg, Latvala and Atkinson. There is little change at the front though, Loeb extending his lead, followed by the two Fords.
Today I pushed really hard all the day, even in the last, because I feel well in the car and the feeling is very good. But okay, now we will have to see for tomorrow what we can do. I think I have to continue like this.
Is this the maximum you can do?
I can't really push any harder. I mean, the speed I'm doing, it's fairly safe. But then again, if you attack even harder with this car, we end up having understeer like we did in Spain, and then the times are even worse. So there's kind of it's really tempting to push harder all the time. But I know if I go that way, we're going to be even slower. So there's nothing much we can do.
Sordo's C4 has made it back to service, but it looks like the Spaniard will not be rejoining.
We just get the car back, and we see with the marshals from the FIA, and we understood that the car is not going on anymore.
Is there a problem with the A-frame? What is it?
Is the roll bar will move a little bit, and for us it can do, but they said they won't, so we have to do what they said. So the car will stay here tomorrow.
We know that Sordo won't be back then, but will Loeb's relentless run continue? Can the Fords close the gap? And who will get on top in the battle for fourth? All those questions and more will be answered over the next 2 days. Keep up to date with the results and news live on WRC.com, and we'll be back tomorrow with the Day 2 action.